catching up with a friend on FaceTime, and we talked for an hour and a half. And I met this friend in a mastermind last year, and it's so fun talking to her because both her and I have changed so much in like such a short amount of time. We've evolved so much, not even just like in our business, but like in the way that we hold ourselves and our confidence in what we know to be true about certain things. Anyway, all of that to say, it was perfect timing because I looked back at what I did last year, and I've told you guys this, but like I'm looking at everything that I've done this year in business, like things that I've launched, strategies that I've tested and tried. And this time last year, I launched Insta Stories Sales Secrets, which is obviously a program teaching people how to sell on Instagram stories, which for me, especially at that time, like it was my number one way of making sales was selling in my Instagram stories. Still to this day, it's a very strong strategy, but I've added different things in where I can now like make sales outside of that area. However, all of that to say, it's so interesting because there's so many things I want to say about this. I remember building out Insta Stories Sales Secrets and thinking it was such a good program. Like if anyone took this program, they would know how to show up in their stories, not just to make sales, but like to create this overall experience for the viewers. But I created that entire program ahead of time. Like it took me hours, you guys. I recorded the videos, I created all the curriculum, and then once it was finished, I packaged it and I sold it. And I would never do that today, but I remember doing that because there was someone in my world at the time that was kind of coaching me to understand that I was launching too much. And she had a point. Like I understood where she was coming from because I was like kind of all over the place. And what's interesting is if you've been following me now, like I launch all the time. I love launching. I always have ideas. You can't hold me back. Like I go full force. And I took her coaching at that time, very seriously. And I think I probably could have asked more questions and like dove into like, what does she mean by that? Like, or what was her advice and guidance? But to me, I took it literally. And so I thought to myself, I need to not launch this, but I'm going to still spend time creating this program and I'm just going to sell it. And, Sammy, what's up? I love that about you. Thank you, my friend. But at the time, like a year ago, I listened so fiercely to this guidance, which I don't even know if it was intended for me to like, I don't think the vibe was like slow down, but I took it that way. Like I internalized it as, okay, well, I have this desire to create this program. I want to teach people how to sell in their stories, but I can't launch it because that would be going against the advice that I'm getting right now. And so I like listened to that weird inner critic, weird inner voice, and it's nobody else's fault but my own. And I didn't launch it. I just kind of like showed up and sold it a little bit, like half-assed it completely. However, a lot of people bought that program, which is so interesting because it's definitely a need. Like I watch even my clients now, even my friends in the industry that I have massive respect for. And I'm like, dude, if you could just shift the way you're selling in your stories, the way that you're showing up in your stories, your shit would pop off. Like I literally think that even people who I know to be very successful, I watch them and I'm like, if I could just coach you on how to show up in your stories, it would be game over. But anyway, all of that to say, it's a year later and I love that program to this day. I was actually going back and like looking at all of the curriculum that I added to that program, but I've learned so much more. I have fine-tuned, I've refined my approach of selling in stories. And so I thought to myself, I'm going to add a bonus training to that program, but I'm going to invite you to join this bonus program, this bonus training, goodness. And I've talked about it for one day. A few people have already joined the bonus training. It's $33, you guys. And you don't have to have come from the program to understand like this bonus training is going to change your life. It's going to change the way that you sell in your stories and show up in your stories. And I do want to like coach you through a couple of things that I'm going to be talking about in that training because I think it'll help you. It just said paused due to connection, and I never know, like I always wait for it to come back, and I never know if I'm like sitting here waiting or if you guys can see that, but either way. So I'm going to be adding this bonus training to the overall program, and I'm inviting you in to like join me while I record the bonus training. All of that to say, I look at Instagram stories from multiple different perspectives, but I don't look at it the same way that I look at feed content. So if you have been in any of my programs where I coach on feed content and personal branding and like telling stories and creating this aura about you, this magnetism about you in your feed, I view like our feed as our opportunity to get people to understand who we are, what our values are, the way that we move through life, our perspectives, our transformations, like our experiences, that all lives in your feed. The stories is like totally different game to me. The stories, like Instagram stories, is where you're able to drop in and create a 24-hour experience. They expire in 24 hours. And this experience is not just you going into your stories and saying, here, I created this program. Here's the link. Here's all the features, the benefits. Here's why you should join me. It's like, that is not what we're doing in Instagram stories. It's actually easier than that. I think you're making it hard on yourself. And that's another thing I find with my clients is they come into my world and I'll ask them like, where do you sell? And oftentimes there's, email marketing, like all these different things. And there's always an element of them admitting that they do sell in their stories. And so I will ask them to pull up their archives, or we'll look at together, like, how are you selling in your stories? And it's so interesting because I'll be like, okay, you think that you're selling in your stories, but you're not. Like, that is not selling. Selling isn't just, okay, I've dropped a link and you're invited. Selling is an experience. You can't just get down on one knee and say, marry me and buy my program. This is all about creating a whole different world in your Instagram stories. And it's so important. It's crucial that you're not missing out on this strategy, because when you think to yourself, if you go to somebody's Instagram profile, or if you like first open up your Instagram, the first thing that you do is you go to your stories. Like you watch your stories. And I think a misconception is that if you have low views, if you have a low amount of viewers, that you aren't going to convert people. I would argue that till the day I die. Like, I don't care. I don't even say this as a flex, but I will, every single time that I'm selling in my stories, somebody buys something. Every single time. Like, there is no, I don't care what the price point is. There's either a DM inquiring about something, or someone just buys from a link, or they go to the link in my bio. It is because I create an experience. And there are days where, admittedly, I have 100 views on my stories. There are days where I have 5,000 views. It does not matter. Any view count in between, I'm making sales in my stories because of the way that I create an experience. I see stories as a sequence of events. I don't see it as like, okay, I'm going to go talk about my program from this angle and this angle and this angle. I don't see it that way. I do have like 7 different frameworks that will be a part of this training in this program. I have 7 different frameworks of how I come into my stories and I talk about a program. Hi, Amber. Mwah. And I am going to talk about these frameworks because sometimes I find that my clients will be like, well, I really want to go sell in my stories and I crushed it yesterday, but I don't know what to say today. Like, can I say the same things? And that's where these frameworks will come into play, where you can have like this fresh approach and get excited about going into your stories. To me, selling in my Instagram stories is an every single day non-negotiable. Like, people are going to buy what you sell. People are going to buy what you sell. What you sell is what people will buy. And if you're not selling at all, like, this is obviously, you need to be a part of this training immediately. Instagram stories is the place to be selling. So if you're not selling every single day, then that's flag number 1 as to why you aren't where you want to be yet, as to why you think that it's hard to find clients. You're missing the easiest place to do it. And then sometimes it's like as easy as understanding how to maybe not even sell in your stories, but you've created a piece of feed content and you're like, this feed content is really good. And you think to yourself, I should go share this I should repurpose this and share it into my stories. Yet you're missing a few key pieces to get people from your Instagram stories to your feed. And I'm about to teach you all of that stuff. So if you are like, I need to learn how to easily convert the people who are watching my stories, even if it's 10 people, you guys, I kid you not, what I'm about to teach you is going to blow your mind. It's going to change your business. If you're like, I actually have no idea how to sell in stories, I've never even tried it, then another no-brainer. This is not for just the beginner. Like if you're a beginner, this is going to work for you, but I don't care if you have $1 million business. These are some foundations. These are the skills that I personally don't see anybody else teaching. So if you're missing out on that piece and you're like, okay, I've tried to launch an offer, but for some reason it like didn't pop off the way that I wanted it to, I immediately think to myself, I'm going to go into my stories and I'm going to apply one of my frameworks that I've come up with. This is my proprietary like business mind. And I think of one of my frameworks and I go into my stories and I talk about the offer in very cool, like non-salesy, non-pushy ways. And boom, somebody sells every single time. And this is like proof, just to say, like the other day, I showed up in my stories. I talked about the training that I'm telling you about right now, and a few people bought immediately. I also got a couple questions in my DMs. So I will cover those questions real quick. One question was if I'm not a part of the overall course. I think that was a question. If I'm not a part of the overall course, can I still come to the training? And the answer is yes. So if you haven't done like the full Insta Story Sales Secrets course, you can definitely still come to this training. It's going to be very, very helpful. It's going to blow your mind. I can't even remember some of the other questions that I got. How can I buy the overall course? That was one question. How can I just go for the entire course? I don't just want the training. I want the full course. If you come to the training, you're going to get an opportunity to apply that credit to the overall course. So you don't want to miss out on this. I'm not going to talk about it that much because I would be doing this in the background anyway, but I'm inviting you in for a stupid low price to learn how to show up in your Instagram stories and convert the heck out of people. So thank you. It was me. I'm getting my ish together, I promise. Oh my gosh, you have your ish together. Don't even apologize. I love questions, and I'm so sorry if I didn't answer you in the DMs yet. I will come to you, Amber. I'm really glad that, I hope you signed up. I'm really glad that you asked me that question, and feel free to anytime slide in my DMs and ask me a question. I'm here for it. Yesterday I was getting my hair done and it took a very long time, which I appreciate, like, do your thing and do it right. But anytime I'm getting my hair done, I love my hairdresser. So we just like chat the entire time and I don't get any work done. So if you have asked me a question in the last 24 hours and I haven't responded to you, that's probably why. I've just been tied up. But I do have blocked time in my day where I go through all my DMs. So I will definitely respond to you, and I always appreciate you asking questions and sending them my way. So otherwise, I am going to be hosting this live training next Friday, the 22nd. Friday, the August 22nd. I'm like, what month are we in? I will be hosting this training and you can attend live. It's going to be so badass. You're going to get so much out of it. You are going to walk away and immediately know how to show up in your stories, immediately know, like, feel excited about showing up there. And you'll be able to separate the Instagram stories approach versus just your feed approach. Also, look at my nails. I've never been this bold in colors. Like usually I just go for white or like something classic, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to the beach. I'm going to do something fun. I love blue. And if you were like a part of the main character coaching series, that last one with Rebecca, I talked about how important the color blue is to me right now. So go check that out if you haven't listened to it yet. Thanks, Sammy. Okay. Thanks, Amber. Love you guys so much. All right, y'all. So if you want the link to join the Insta Stories Sales Secrets bonus training, oh my gosh, I think that's Kara. I can't tell. Calm Mom, Strong Mind. Is that Kara? I love you so much. Oh, nobody else calls me Little Channy Baby, so I feel like that's gotta be you. But if you want the link to join the Insta Stories Sales Secrets, feel free to DM me. I'm also going to post about it in my stories tonight, so you can join from the link there, or you can just skip the line and come into, hi, Kara, I love you so much. Come into my DMs and I'll hook you up to join the training on Friday. But yeah, that's it. That's a wrap. Happy Saturday. Have an amazing evening, and I can't wait to see you at the training. We're about to do big things together. I can't wait to get you up and going, selling in your stories, and just feeling like very confident in your approach there. All right. I love you so much. Mwah. Joined. Going to buy a crisp notebook for it. I love that. Love a good new notebook. That's like my favorite thing. I have way too many. I knew I had to say that for you to know it was me. Love you, friend. I love you so much. All right. I gotta go. Love you so much. Bye. and it's not letting